Hi, here we are down in my studio. Here's Birdie, my faithful assistant, and all the wool that I've dyed for Rug Cookie Magazine and the welcome mat for the last 2 years. Goodness knows what it will become, but today I am giving you a little talk about hooks for our New Skills Monday. Patricia wisely suggested that she wished that we had a hook compendium where hooks are kind of talked about and described, and you can see them and find out who made them. So the first thing I want to show you is the very first hook I used, which is this one here. I had difficulty using the straight one, and so my teacher suggested I try the bent one, and I really liked it. And her husband, Fred Bruin of Wyerton, made them. I think he still makes hooks. And here's the last one I bought, the Addy crochet hooks. They look a bit like a toothbrush. I bought the 3.25 and I bought a thicker, coarser one too, and I find it really good when I want to change my hand position. But generally, what I do now, when I started hooking, we only used 4s or 5s or 3s, and so this hook worked really well for all of those things. But as I began to explore, I needed better hooks, and I needed specific hooks for specific jobs. So here's a little grouping of the hooks that I use now, including these two that I just showed you for using smaller cuts and yarn and finer things. So for number 3 cut, 4 cut, this is what I used. And even number 2 are really fine yarns. These are the hooks that I use, and you can see they're quite small. Now these first ones were made by Frida McDonnell's husband, and of course she lived in Meaford, and he's not making hooks anymore, but they were really great, and they also came in bent shapes, and you could, I could still satisfy my bent ways. This is an Appleton hook, this one here. It came from Donna Swanson's store in Connecticut, so I don't know if that's still available either. Unfortunately, it's sort of a compendium of hooks gone by. And this hook here, it was made by Margot White's husband, Neil, and it's a great hook. Margot hooks wide cuts, and this is the hook she uses herself. So you have to find what's comfortable for you, but for me, I mostly use these hooks when I'm doing narrow cuts. And for wider cuts, here's a McDonnell one that's bent, and I've had this hook for ages. It's a hook I use a lot. You'll often see me using it when I'm doing demonstrations. This is an Armstrong hook. I don't know if you read Fisheye Rug blog, but that is her, I think it's her grand uncle who makes those hooks, or her uncle, I can't remember which. And I don't think he makes these hooks any longer either. When I was first beginning hooking, I bought one, and I loved it so much I had lost it in amongst some markers when I was tutoring kids. And I found it years later, but meanwhile, I was very anxious and ordered 2 more when I could, and I still really do love to hold them. They're great in the hand. I think the best thing I can tell you about hooks is you need to find ones that work good for you. It's not really something you can order online. It's really great to get a hold of them if you can, or deal with a place that has a return policy so that you get a really great feel for it. And these are the cuts that I use with it. The 5s, the 6s, the 7s, the 8s. That's what I do. But of course, if you know me, you know I love to use these super fat cuts, like number 12, number 10. That's where I really enjoy hooking. And these 2 hooks here are Ritchie hooks from Heather Ritchie's husband. He makes them, and I love them. I especially love this one. Woe betide if anything were ever to happen, but at least now I have this movie to get another one made. And this one is from Impressions in Wood, and of course you know, from what I already said, I love the bent hook. So this one works really great for me, especially when I'm starting to get a little fatigued. I'll switch over to the bent one, and it uses a different collection of muscles to utilize it. And of course I have Nancy Miller's hook. I love Nancy, and I find it really great too, especially once again when I want to change position. So having all these hooks seems horribly indulgent. And to be truthful, I even have a few more, but I am a professional hooker. I do hook with a wide variety of cuts, and I also never have had, in all my days, even though I hook super wide and hook a lot, have ever had troubles with carpal tunnel syndrome. And if anybody should, it should be me, due to working on the computer and I only use one hand to type and hooking, and unfortunately it's the same hand. So I highly suggest that you have a variety of hooks that you use and make sure you're using the correct one for you for the actual cut that you're using. And the backing too, because it really matters a lot. So we're going to talk about backing next week. And until then, I hope you enjoyed this little hook show. And I'm so sorry they're mostly hooks that you can no longer get now. But like I said, what you need to do is find a good retailer who will let you try them out and send them back if you're unable to go to a place where you can try a bunch out. Happy hooking!